Let's eat. Hey Garden Maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So I'm back in the kitchen today and I'm going to prepare an easy recipe that is going to go right into my slow cooker because I have other things to do today and I don't want to spend my entire day in the kitchen. So today I am making a quick, easy hamburger rice casserole. And like I said, it's going to go right into the slow cooker and we're going to get about our day. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do in a pan, I'm going to add just a little bit of oil. This is just olive oil. You can use any cooking oil you choose. Now I have 2 pounds of ground beef. And I'm going to put it in here and we're going to get our ground beef all browned up. So while our ground beef is browning, I'm going to go ahead and chop up 1 large onion. And I have some very large onions. If you don't have large onions, you would chop up 2 medium size or 2 small. As much onion as you like. I'm going to chop up some onion and I'm going to chop up 2 stalks of celery. Okay, so I drained the ground beef as much as I could. It's only 3/4 of the way cooked. It still has a little bit of pink yet. So I'm just trying to make sure I chop it into smaller pieces. And now I'm going to add the 2 stalks of celery. And then I'm going to add my 1 large onion. We're going to let all this continue to cook until the onions are about halfway cooked through. We're going to add a little dried oregano. Pays to grow your own, that way you always have it on supply. And a little bit of dried basil. And I am also going to put in just a little bit of my complete seasoning. Like I said, I just love this stuff. And I pretty much use it in everything. Not a whole lot, just about a tablespoon worth. Because you want something to give the meat some flavor. And I think that's going to do it because it smells very good. So we'll let this brown just a little bit, like I said, until the onions get about halfway cooked through. And then I'll be back. Okay, so this has been cooking for just a little while. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Just because I think it needs it. The recipe does not call for it, but I think it needs it. I think everything's better with black pepper. So I added a generous amount of that, about 2 tablespoons or so. So this, oh, it smells so good. So this is pretty much done the way it is now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fire. And we're going to get the crock pot ready. Okay, so I know this is going to be a little bit hard to see into the crock pot. You want to make sure to spray the inside. You want it well greased. So I have rice that was left over from before. You need at least 4 cups of rice, cooked rice. So this is, I just took this out of the refrigerator. So you want to take at least 2 cups of cooked rice. You can use more. You're going to put this onto the bottom first. Just need to break it up here. I'll use my hand and break it up. Now I have a can of the Giorgio mushroom stems and pieces. Now we're going to put half of the can on the top of the rice. So it just looks like that for now. It's the rice and the mushrooms. Now you put half of your meat mixture onto the bottom. Okay, now for this next step, you take 1 can of cream of mushroom soup and you add 1.5 cans of water and you mix it very well into a bowl. That's it. And now we're going to take this, get the crock pot back over here. So we have our rice, our mushrooms, and half of our beef mixture. We're going to take half of the mushroom soup and pour it over top now onto this. Just half of it. And then we're going to repeat it. Another couple cups of rice, 2 cups at least, onto top of this. This is a great way to use up leftover rice if you have it into your refrigerator and you're not quite sure what to do with it. It's a great way to use it up. It's very sticky. If you freeze your rice about a half hour before you do this, you won't have all this stickiness. But I didn't think to do that last night or earlier today, so. But that's okay. I just put up with a little bit of stickiness. And I'm just draining out the rest of the water out of the can of mushrooms. I'm going to put the rest of those on top. Spread them around. And then the rest of our meat mixture. And then, of course, the rest of our mushroom soup mix. And then we're going to put on our lid. And then we're going to cook it on high for 3.5 hours. And then we'll come back and do our final step. Okay, so it's been 3.5 hours. I'm going to get ready and check it. And then we're going to do our final step. I did give it a peek earlier. And it has plenty of moisture into it. So I have not had to add a single thing. You can actually see, maybe, there is plenty of moisture down there. It smells absolutely wonderful. So now, this is what we're going to do. So this is the cheese I am using. I don't have the Velveeta block cheese, like I'm sure you are familiar with Velveeta block. I get this at Save-A-Lot. It's just called So Cheesy. It is the exact same thing as the Velveeta. This is what I'm going to use. So you know it would not be any kind of a meal unless you had cheese. So this is what we do. I'm going to use the cheese, layer it on top, try to cut it in slices. For me, that's a little difficult to do. I can never cut this stuff straight or at one thickness. I'm just going to layer it on. Now, I'm sure if you wanted to use shredded cheese, you could do that as well. Instead of the Velveeta or the block cheese, I just think this ends up turning out creamier than if you were to use the other cheese. So that's why I used this instead. So we're going to put the lid back on. And we're going to let this cook now for another 30 minutes. So I went ahead and I added some Colby Jack cheese to the top of it as well. And it's been 30 minutes. And it looks delicious and it smells delicious. And it's time to serve this up. So there we have it. It smells really good. Like I said, I have made this a few times. And it is extremely good. It's also extremely hot. Needs a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. Because I didn't put any salt in it. I just used the complete seasoning. So yeah, it needs a little bit of salt. And the celery is still a little crunchy. If you want your celery to be softer, maybe you might want to let it cook for another half hour before you add the cheese. But very good. Pretty good. So that's one way of getting a supper on the table that is somewhat quick enough. It took me about 30 to 45 minutes to put it all together between, cooking the ground beef and slicing everything up, the onions and the celery. Of course, if you add in the time it takes to cook rice, it'd be about 45 minutes in total cooking everything. And then load it all into the slow cooker. But pretty much just put it in and go about your day like I have done today. And come back to something that is extremely filling. It is extremely filling. So I hope you decide to try it and perhaps let me know what you think. And I understand that a lot of people, don't like some things, and that's why I always say when you do these types of recipes, make it your own. Put in what you like. This time I did follow the recipe exactly, so I didn't add anything extra except my complete seasoning. I didn't delete anything, and like I said, I think it is absolutely great the way it is. It just needs some salt. Give this video a like so that others may benefit from it as well, and YouTube will spread it around. So it's always a pleasure to have you here, and I always look forward to the next time together. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And until next time, love y'all, take care, God bless, and I'll see you on the next video. Let's eat. This light is like a halo. I think it's God's way of shining down good things upon me. Maybe.